Very good afternoon to all, brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Today is 12 July 2026, Sunday. So we'll be continuing our sharing from this book, the Surangama Sutra. We are at page 155. 南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无本师释迦牟尼佛。南无观世音菩萨。南无观世音菩萨。南无观世音菩萨。南无阿弥陀佛。南无阿弥陀佛。南无阿弥陀佛。南无弥勒佛。南无弥勒佛。南无弥勒佛。南无药师佛。南无药师佛。南无药师佛。南无文殊菩萨。南无文殊菩萨。南无文殊菩萨。南无普贤菩萨。南无普贤菩萨。南无普贤菩萨。南无地藏王菩萨。南无地藏王菩萨。南无地藏王菩萨。อะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธภะคะวาพุทธังภะคะวันตังอะภิวาเทมิสุขโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมธัมมังนัมมัสสามิสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนามามินะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะบุตตังสรณังกัจฉามิธัมมังสรณังกัจฉามิสังฆังสรณังกัจฉามิDutiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami Dutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami Panati Pata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Adina Dana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Kamesu Miccacara Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Musawada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Surameraya Majapamadatana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Sadhu Sadhu, sadhu. Okay, let's pay respect to Puja. Buddhang Pujami. Dhammang Pujami. Sanghang Pujami. Invocation to the Devas. In this universe, in their entirety, let the deities or devas come here. Let them hear the good teachings of the King of Sages, which gives heaven and release Nibbana. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. Samanta Chakawalisu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajasa Sunantu Sakamokkarang Dhamma Sharing Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhamma Sharing Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhamma Sharing Kalo Ayang Badanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Nitipeso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vichacharana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Purisa Dhammasarti Satta Deva Manusanang Buddho Bhagavati Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Ehipaseko Opanayiko Pachyatang Veditabo Vinohiti Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Ujjupatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Nyaya Patipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Samici Patipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Yadidang Cattari Purisa Yukkani Atta Purisa Pugala Esa Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Ahoneyo Pahoneyo Dakkeneyo Anjali Karaneyo Anuttarang Punyang Ketang Lokasati Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Okay, before we start and continue from where we stop, I think just to announce what Pamasuri has put on the notice. Next Sunday, I will not be around. I'm in Singapore. So the class will be cancelled, and Pamasuri also, I think, won't be available the following Sunday. So 2 Sunday class will be cancelled. Just make a note. Okay, now we continue from where we stopped. Page 155. With the wondrous, luminous understanding that neither come into being nor ceases to be, I am identified to the matrix the task come one. So this one is actually our oneness nature or the Buddha nature. That's why sometimes they call it the matrix of the task come one. So the Buddha actually used this word. He defined that matrix of the task come one as the wondrous, luminous understanding, which is the embodiment of his wisdom and virtue perfection. And this one is the nature, it is the unconditioned. That's why it says the understanding that neither comes into being nor cease to be. So when you are with that oneness nature, it's like you are with the Buddha nature. That's why it's the matrix of the task come one. So the matrix of the task come one is itself the wondrous, enlightened, luminous understanding which illuminates the entire Dhamma. Within it, therefore, the one is infinitely many, and the infinitely many are one. The great appear within the small, just as the small appear within the great. It sits unmoving in this still place for awakening. And my Dhamma body extends everywhere and encompasses the infinity of space in all 10 directions. So this is the meaning of Buddha nature actually exists everywhere in the entire existence, the oneness. That's why in some of the Zen tradition teaching, I think that was a very beautiful analogy. There was I think, two samanera, I think. They were arguing over, it's like, how can you just simply speed around the temple area we place with disrespect for the triple Jeff thing. Then they were trying to reprimand the old monk, but the old monk is an enlightened being. So the old monk asked back, where should I speed where there is no Buddha nature? Then they cannot understand, because everywhere is that nature. That's why when I share with you all, if you want to pay respect when you are traveling, you don't have to choose a direction to face. Any direction that suits you, that you feel appropriate and like comfortable. You just pay your respect, because that nature is everywhere. So this understanding comes from all this, the matrix of the task come one. So the way they describe it is very good. It's also the same as what I used to share with you all. You see, our phenomenal world, all phenomena that manifest within the conditioned world is within that pneumona, or how you pronounce it, nomina. So that entire oneness is like the overall. Nothing can be as vast as that. But all the phenomena within the conditioned world, they are not apart from that. That's why in the Tao Te Ching or the Tao tradition's teaching, Lao Tzu, it is also mentioned, nothing is apart from the Tao. That is the meaning. Understand? Whether it's the conditioned or the unconditioned, is within that oneness. So nothing is apart from the Tao. Of course, they initially try to use word to express the meaning. 道可道，非常道. So whatever that can be spoken or described is not the true Tao. But nothing is apart from the Tao. So now you understand how the teaching comes about. In fact, when you understand the profound nature, oneness, then you understand the teaching. In fact, the Tao point towards the same. You can call it the source, the oneness, or the Buddha nature, or whatever by a different name. But it points towards that ultimate thing. Then the Mahayana tradition, they call it the original nature, because it was there at the very, very beginning. 本来的面目. So all these are words. When you understand, then you can comprehend it clearly. Okay, we go back to the Surangama Sutra sharing. I see I'm moving in this still place for awakening, and my Dhamma body extends everywhere. It encompasses the infinity of space in all directions. That one I completed it already. Then he gave another example. That's why sometimes Mahayana teaching is not easy to understand. They always talk about the speck of dust. So here is explained. On the tip of a fine hair means the speck. Magnificent Buddha land appear. Because they like to use this word. On a speck of dust, the Buddha land are there. Magnificent Buddha land appear. Seated with each mode of dust. Here they use the word. I turn the great Dhamma wheel because I have freed myself from the world of perceived object. You know what is the world of perceived object? The phenomenal world, the conditioned world. That one, you need the five aggregate, the aggregate of sanya, perception to perceive, understand. So that one is phenomena created through causes and conditions. So the perceived object, world of perceived object is a phenomenal world. Therefore the suchness of reality manifests. The inherent nature that is wondrous, luminous, and awake. Thus the matrix of the task come one. The fundamental wondrous perfect mind is not the distinction making mind. So what is distinction making mind? You're discriminating mind. That five aggregate. That Sankara Sanya that discriminate. That's why they call the seven consciousness as the discriminating consciousness. You see, the six consciousness, when they manifest from the sense basis, they are the normal consciousness, but the content hasn't gone in. When the content gone in is what? All the Sankara, understand? That one make what? Make discrimination, understand? That one create deception, because without wisdom. So when it creates Sankara, it has its views, opinion, conditioning, belief system, including all your phobia, your insecurity, your whatever accumulated experiences, both psychological and non-psychological. That's why acting according to memory is not acting at all. Well, the perceived world, before you become enlightened, is perceiving it with your knowledge, with your accumulated conditioned mind, which is before the wisdom has arisen. So this discriminatory consciousness, it ends up as your seven consciousness. So when it creates the discrimination, it creates karmic. You understand now? Yeah? The karmic formation create the karmic conditioning within the existential world. That's why the law of karma manifests and has its very extensive influence on living beings. I won't say humanity alone, on living beings. All living beings, they have to go through this. That's why samsara is what we call the endless birth and death caused by karmic conditioning. Born of the seven consciousness before the wisdom develops. And this seven consciousness, when it's activated, it is very powerful. That's why this seven consciousness is like the organ. Then after that, it triggers all the eight consciousness. So the eight consciousness, they call it alaya consciousness because in the Mahayana they also call it the store consciousness. Understand? So where does it store? It's stored in your karmic nature. Understand? That's why the alaya consciousness is a summation of all your karmic nature. All of the moment to moment of karmic conditioning or your karmic manifestation. That's why they call that alaya, 第八识. But under the Theravada tradition, because when the Buddha teach the provisional teaching, he cannot go and teach that type of high level understanding, because that alaya consciousness is very complicated. That's why he said the law of karma is very, very complicated, not easy to understand. Can only be comprehended by great beings who have the cultivation and the perfection. But its possibility is unending, so extensive, so vast. That's why understanding all this, you need to go through the supreme vehicle cultivation, which is the Bodhisattva way. That is the only way to gain all those understanding. And every time you come as a segment, you only manifest for a short span. Compared to the universe existence, it's just a span, a tiny span. But you have to come repeatedly, unending, for limitless aeons and aeons. And because of that, without this understanding of the possibility of cultivation through the Bodhisattva way, there is no way this perfection of Samasa Buddhahood can be developed or cultivated. That's why this so-called Buddhist teaching is very extensive, very, very extensive. And to comprehend it, you need to comprehend all of creation and existence, both the conditioned and the unconditioned. So now you get a better understanding of the full picture. That's why I summarize it as the four circle formation that manifests as the whole understanding of what the unconditioned and the conditioned manifestation of the universe is. How from the source, or the true nature, or Buddha nature, or whatever, the first to arise is the pure awareness nature. And to come to this existential world, you need a form and mind. And only through this form and mind, the vehicle and the tool, or I call it the karmically conditioned 5 aggregate of form and mind, you can realize that pure awareness nature. Without that, you cannot come. That's why all this understanding must be there for you to have the ability to formulate the 4 basic vows of a bodhisattva who walk this way. Because without all this understanding, you cannot come. And without the form and mind, you cannot develop the condition to meditate, to realize the true mind, which is the pure awareness nature, the first manifestation. But from there, all the conditions arising phenomena will arise. Understand? The creation starts from that pure awareness nature. That's why if you go back there, then you will understand the whole creation. Then when you understand through wisdom, you can seize them, reverse the order and return. Then the phenomenal world of consciousness, the 5 degrees of form and mind, they will have no power over that being that has realized that pure awareness nature's direct seeing, the what they call wisdom, born of that cultivation from that pure awareness nature. That's why only awareness-based meditation can develop the wisdom to free you. No other way. That's why all the thought-based one cannot. Now you start to understand why in the early day when I want to teach you all and share with you all, I find it very strange. People can be so gullible as to go and do all this thought-based approach to meditation and try to realize the awakening or the enlightenment or the realization which is beyond thought, beyond mind. That's why it's completely like, you find it very strange. But then I realize you can't blame them where they are not ready. Understand? And that time is not easy to understand. But after 20 years, now 20 plus years, the understanding has changed. And people can develop the understanding now. And you can comprehend all this. That's why now to teach the Surangama Sutra is so much easier. You can follow. Can follow now? Still cannot follow. But without all this understanding, especially the 4 circle formation that took quite a while to share and develop the understanding for you, you are like, it's not possible for you all to comprehend the true teaching of this Surangama Sutra. Okay, we go back to the notes. So I read again. Thus the metric of the Taskam one, the fundamental wondrous perfect mind, is not the distinction making mind or the discriminating mind, nor is it space, nor is it earth, water, wind and fire. Earlier on they talk about the 7 elements. It is not the eye faculty, nor the ear faculty, nor the nose faculty, nor the tongue faculty, nor the body faculty, nor the cognitive faculty. Do you realize what is the sutta that has this similar explanation? Sutta, very good. You remember? Xing Jing. Wu Yin Jie Kong. They're in true emptiness. All this don't exist. That's why now you start to link and connect back. Neither is it visible object, nor sound, means the sense data, nor odor, nor flavor, nor object of touch, nor the object of cognition. It is not the consciousness too, the eye consciousness, the mind consciousness, nor any other of the basic sense door consciousness. It is neither the fundamental ignorance that is the adding of an understanding to our inherent enlightenment, nor the ending of ignorance, nor is it old age and death, nor the ending of old age and death. Neither is it fundamentally unsatisfying nature of existence. Okay, we go back to the notes. You see, under the notes, these are the first and last two of the 12 links in the chain of dependent originating. Paticca Samuppada. The main ring word is Yin Yuan, Yin Yuan. They call it Yin Yuan Fa La, Se Yin Yuan Fa La, which is also translated as dependent origination and interdependent arising. Hence, all the 12 links are understood to be included. They are. Here the English translation is not correct. Because of ignorance. You see, because there is ignorance, there is formation. It's actually not because there is ignorance. There may be ignorance in nature, understand? But if you don't have ignorant avijja in the 5 areas of form and mind, then this movement cannot take place, understand? That's why the actual correct English word is avijja pacca sankhara, means dependent on ignorance or avijja. Sankhara activity, mental activity manifests. Because when you have avijja, ignorance or delusion, what do? One thing to know, one thing to experience. You develop what? The thinking process. It's just like in a school. You don't understand, go back and think about it. So what is thinking? Thinking is contact with the brain, understand? Because that is the only instrument you have. Your way of acting is through your conditioned memory, understand? Which is all the things that you accumulate, good and bad, experiences, your views, your opinion, your conditioning, your belief system, everything that you hold. So you act according to that. That one is a lot of rubbish. So you cannot develop wisdom from there. So when you act in that way, means there is avijja. Then it triggers off what? Sankhara activity and the thinking. Because the brain will perceive. From the perception, what follows? Your conditioning, your belief system, your habitual tendency, all this develop the movement in there. That's why you stir your mind. Understand? You react to what you perceive through your senses. That's why I say you stir your mind, because avijja, ignorance, wrong perception, you don't have the right view. Then you react based on what? Habitual tendency, understand? Without habitual tendency, you won't react, understand? Thing is just the way it is, understand? But you don't have the wisdom, born of the direct seeing, to accept the reality for what it is. That's why that movement arises. So the 12 links manifest in this way. Dependent on ignorance, it arises what they call sankhara activity. So because the brain is an organ, what happened? Like the physics experiment. Upon contact, the light bulb lights up, isn't it? Lighting up is what? The thought consciousness, isn't it? At that time, the content hasn't gone in, You understand now? No one to see, no one to hear, no one to smell, no one to taste, no one to tactile feel or think. That's why the Buddha said, in that consciousness, take for example the seeing. in that seeing, there is only the seeing consciousness before the content go in. You understand? Finish. But if you deludedly carry the Sakaya Ditti, then it becomes I see. You understand? Therefore I am. So that I is a Sakaya Ditti, that self, entity, that which perceives the ego. When I believe this is me, what will you do? What will you do? You want to own things, have things, possess things, and develop all the craving, the desire, the covetousness. Then if things you don't like, you develop the negative craving. That's why all this duality, that condition your reaction of mind and stirring of mind manifests. That time I cannot explain because you all don't have the understanding yet. That's why I just share with you how your mind stirs, the reaction and stirring of the mind. Because that paticca samuppada is to be realized, then only you see the whole thing and develop the wisdom and understanding. But before that, very difficult. So I can only tell you how you stir and react to sense experience. And that movement comes from avijja, understand not? That's why I go back to the notes. The small print, this one, yes. So here the English translation is not so precise. It's not because there is ignorance. It's dependent on ignorance. Then the mental formation, or actually is sankhara activity, manifests. Avijja paccaya sankhara. Then because of sankhara, it manifests the five aggregate of form and mind, which is the pure aggregate. This pure aggregate is without grasping, like the physics experiment, nature's law. It just manifests. The consciousness just arises. So the third link is sankhara paccaya vijnanam, the mental manifestation. Means that consciousness that manifests from that sense basis. If it's the eye, it is seeing consciousness. If it's the ear, it's hearing consciousness. Similarly for the other senses. But at that moment, there is no egoic mind yet. There is no content of consciousness that go in. But because of that movement, if you are without wisdom, then this vijnanam will automatically condition namarupa or namarupa, the five aggregate of form and mind. So this five aggregate of form and mind become the thought, understand? The pure consciousness, which is the receptacle, receive the content and become the five aggregate of form and mind, second aspect. You understand? The second aspect. So this second aspect is the one that creates the phenomenal world of consciousness and all this manifestation. But the linear paticca samuppada that the Theravada tradition learned is after namaru, they say it conditions salayatana. It's not it conditions salayatana. What the Buddha is trying to mean is, for this five aggregate of form and mind, the mental five aggregate, the second aspect to arise, there must be sense basis. That's why namarupa or namarupa paccaya salayatana. So dependent on that, there must be sense basis. That is the real happening. If you have the mindfulness, you can see and you understand. And because there is this sense basis, that's why it can give rise to feeling or contact first. Then upon contact, feeling arise. Actually, simultaneously, the seven universes arise. Then the mental intention, moral, immoral, all go in. Understand? That's why in the linear manifestation, it says Vijnanam Pacha Namaru, Namaru Pacha Salayatana. Then contact, feeling, condition, craving, which is Tanha. Then Upadana, grasping. Then becoming, bhava. Then Jati, Jara, Marana, all the homage of suffering. So all this, when they manifest in the theoretical tradition, they are taught the linear. But when you really have the awareness, when you meditate, you see it's multidimensional. In fact, at the moment of avijja, there is also contact. Because ignorant contact will condition this whole movement. Without ignorant contact, this whole movement will not take place. Then it becomes reverse, vijja instead of avijja. Then what manifests is the sankhara with the wisdom. Means you act according to wisdom, not according to memory. That's why those who have the awakening, they become different, like the Arahant onward. Their aggregates are pure aggregates, non-grasping. That's why they can see the whole thing and they don't suffer. That's why when they die, there is no avijja. There is no rebirth consciousness. Yeah. And for beings who wants to take the bodhisattva way and come back, you must take the bodhisattva vow. Otherwise, there is no mind for you to come back. Then you can only come back in two ways. One, born of avijja. But as an arahant and beyond, when you die, you cannot die with avijja already, with all your wisdom. So, how to come back? You need a pure mind, born of love and compassion. That's why the first basic vow, you vow, your nature vow, to take across the limitless living being. That one is a pure mind, a pure thought, the bodhi mind, born of love and compassion for the living being. You come for the living being. That's why with that, it can trigger off the coming, the five aggregate of form and mind. Because there is already the karmic nature in you. Do you realize everyone, even after you become Arahant, you still have the karmic nature? So what you need is a pure mind, consciousness, to actually develop the condition for you to manifest as a karmically conditioned five aggregate of form and mind. But this karmically conditioned five aggregate of form and mind, for the supreme vehicle cultivation being the bodhisattva who has the wisdom, they don't go through avijja. Understand? But you can also say it's karmically conditioned because your karmic nature is still there. Understand? You condition the rebirth consciousness. But that one don't have avijja on. Because before the rebirth consciousness come out, there was no avijja. So it is not a rebirth consciousness. It's actually a consciousness born of the vow, the basic vow of the bodhisattva. And that vow is out of love and compassion. So that's why that one, the pure mind, or what we call the pure manifestation, because you need a karmic nature to condition the coming. Means I won't call it rebirth. For your nature to come to this conditioned world, you need a karmically conditioned five aggregate of form and mind. But that karmically conditioned five aggregate of form and mind can also take place under two circumstances. One is before you become enlightened, the conditioning from the Chuti Chitta, the last thought moment before the rebirth consciousness that take place, has avijja. That is the first way. You go that way. The second way for the supreme vehicle beings cultivation, which is the Bodhisattva, all the great beings, they don't have the Chuti Chitta or the last thought moment with ignorance. They don't have. So what they have is the Bodhi mind that have planted the four basic vows. And through that four basic vows, it can condition the consciousness, which is the pure mind, out of love and compassion to come. It's also karmically conditioned, but without avijja from the last thought moment. So through this, it can manifest. That's why this understanding is only unique and peculiar for the supreme vehicle cultivator. Means those who take the Bodhisattva way. Okay? This part I hope is clear. Eh? Okay, we go back to the notes. So the rest of the dwelling is, you don't follow this text because there is no. It's just dependent on what manifests. But you have to see it in the direct seeing to understand all this. So all the links, they are the same. Then we continue. Okay. Now is it the accumulation of causes of dissatisfaction, nor the ending of dissatisfaction. Actually, that word is wrongly translated also. It should be dukkha, suffering. Nor the path that leads to the end of dukkha. It is neither wisdom nor the attaining of wisdom. These are all follow the Heart Sutta. It is none of the six perfection. This one is the add-on, the six paramita to go the Bodhisattva way. Neither giving nor following precepts. So dana, sila, then vigor is virya, then kanti is patience, then sati is mindfulness, wisdom is panya. Nor is it anything else. Not the realization of the enlightenment of the Buddha, who is the taskam one, the Arahat, the one of right and universal virtue or wisdom. It is not the permanence, the bliss, the true self, or the purity of the great nirvana. It is not any of this, be they mundane or world transcending. To be none of this is what the matrix of the taskam one is. This is the wondrous of the inherently luminous mind that understands. So we look at the commentary here. You can understand that within the Buddha Dhamma there is no is and no is not. You can become enlightened. In the sixth patriarch platform sutta, the sixth patriarch Huining asks Huiming, when there is no thought of good and no thought of evil, what is the venerable means original countenance? The absence of affirmation and negation, or rightness, righteousness, and wrongness, is itself the inherent Buddha nature, the fundamental, wondrous, perfect mind. If you can truly understand that, you will have everything, and at the same time, you will have nothing. You will have all the Dhamma treasure in the matrix of the taskam one, and you will have no affliction. Devas no need, we can skip. Then the notes for the Four Noble Truths. I think this one also no need. Kuchi Metao. That's why the word cool they put as dissatisfaction. Actually, that English word cannot translate what is the real meaning of cool or dukkha. Then the sixth perfection we have gone through just now. Then the next one is Arahat. Is here a titular name of the Buddha, as it's one of the right hand universal wisdom. We move on. Okay. The paragraph of text just above speak of the emptiness of the matrix of the Tascam One. Next, the Buddha will show how this emptiness is not empty. Words of negation are used, but that does not signify total negation. What still exists is a fundamental, wondrous, perfect mind. The sutras say that all things are not the matrix of the Tascam One. Now it will say that all things are the matrix of the Tascam One. If the matrix of the Tascam One were empty, and if that were all there is to it, it would not be wondrous. But true emptiness is what gives rise to wondrous existence. And wondrous existence produces true emptiness. The matrix of the Tascam One is apart from emptiness and existence, and yet not apart from emptiness and existence. Okay, then we go to the teaching. Yet it is the distinction making mind. It is space, it is earth, it is water, it is wind, it is fire. It is the organ, the eye faculty, the ear faculty, the nose faculty, tongue faculty, body faculty, and cognitive faculty. It is visible object, it is sound, it is odor, it is flavor, it is the object of touch, and it is the object of cognition. It is the eye consciousness, ear consciousness, and all the other consciousness. It is the fundamental ignorance, which is the adding of an understanding to an inherent enlightenment. And it is the ending of the ignorance. It is old age and death, and ending of old age and death. It is fundamentally unsatisfying nature of existence, the accumulation of causes, cause of its arising, the ending of dukkha, and the path that leads to the ending of dukkha. It is all of the six perfections: dana, sila, virya, kanti, sati, and panya. It is everything, including the Tascam One, who is the Arahat and the one of right and universal wisdom. It is the permanence, bliss, true self, and purity of the great Nirvana. It is every one of these, be they mundane or world transcending. To be all of this is what the matrix of the Tascam One is. That is the wondrousness of the inherent luminous mind that understand. It is apart from is and is not, and yet is and is not. And look at the notes. The tetralemma might be restated. The matrix of the Tascam One is identical with worldly and world-transcending phenomena, and yet not identical with them. It both is and is not identical to them, and neither is not identical to them. Okay, we read on. How then, with their conscious mind, could beings who are bound to whirl in the three rhyme, means the sensual rhyme, the form rhyme, and the formless rhyme of existence, or even world transcending sound hearer of the teaching, and the solitary sage, means the first two vehicles of the sainthood way and the Pachika Buddha way, possibly phantoms the supreme awakening of the task come on. How could they gain the Buddha's ability to know and see merely by using the world's word? Marvelous sound can be brought forth from lutes, harps, and mandolins, only when there are skilled fingers to play them. In the same way, all beings, including you, are fully endowed with the resplendent, enlightened, true mind. When I arrange my fingers to form the ocean mudra, the light of the ocean mudra samadhi shine forth. But the moment a thought arises in your mind, you must endure the stress of involvement with perceived object. It is simply because you have not diligently pursued the path to supreme enlightenment. Instead, you are fond of the lesser vehicle and are contented with the lesser goal. Okay, so the next one is delusion has no basis. The parable of Yanadatta. What's the time now? 4 o'clock. Okay, we can still continue a bit more. So, I think what the sutra is trying to explain to you is, you see, to actually explain to the sainthood way, the sound hearer, and the particular Buddha disciples of the Buddha, to go beyond what they have learned or realized, to bring them onto the supreme vehicle teaching is actually not easy. That's why you see in a lot of part of the sutra, they like play with words. Is and is not and other things. But actually, it is not difficult to understand. The only difference is, one refers to the conditioned world's manifestation, understand? That's why within the conditioned world, there are duality, there are law of karma, there is what they call karmic nature, fundamental truth, everything, like in the Heart Sutta. That's why the Heart Sutta becomes so famous is, well, you don't have to talk so much and explain so much, understand? It just tell you in true emptiness, when you break off from the conditioned Dhamma, then the unconditioned Dhamma is totally different, understand? That's why you actually see in the conditioned world Dhamma does not apply to the unconditioned. That's why I used to share with you the early day. When you understand the conditioned Dhamma, that everything is not real, you remember? Not what it is. It's actually to let you penetrate the unconditioned Dhamma, understand? So that when you come, well, you have to come with a karmically conditioned 5 degree of form and mind, understand? That's why I used to tell you all, although After you have realized the unconditioned Dhamma, you know that all this is not real, but there is such thing as life, understand not? Such thing as a 5 degree of form in mind, existence. And there is a law of karma. That's why you have to do your duty and all those things. And all this, you have to understand both sides. Otherwise, when you come, you cannot fit in. You cannot live. It doesn't mean that everything is unreal. Everything don't exist. Then how did wonderful existence arise? A wonderful existence is to tell you there is another way of living life. Understand? That's why I say, within the conditioned world, the Four Noble Truths is very real. The Noble Truth of dukkha, understand? Suffering, prevalence of suffering. Suffering is then there's a cause. Then suffering need not be when you realize the cessation. Then there's a power. This involves the cultivation. But when you realize already, you go to the third phase of Dhamma Pativeda, you live the life of enlightened being. Life become wonderful existence. Then no more noble truth of dukkha. Noble truth of ability to appreciate life and understand life and live life, although not real. But there is such thing as life exists. Then every segment of your coming and going to perfect the spiritual nature and your coming nature can also be cultivated and perfected. You can understand? So it's no more the Four Noble Truths. The Four Noble Truths are for beings that have not gone through the cultivation to realize the initial sainthood ways awakening. That's why for that stage, you need the teaching, the Four Noble Truths, the three turnings, the essential Dhamma. But once you penetrate, then you can go to the third phase of Dhamma. Means you not only initially the learning of the teaching and putting the provisional teaching into cultivation and realize enlightenment. And the third phase is to live the life of an enlightened being with that Dhamma understanding. And that phase is for those who have realized true emptiness, penetrative, supreme vehicle Dhamma. That's why the Heart Sutta actually very powerful, very good summary. That's why we call it the Prajna Paramita. You know what is Prajna? Is a wisdom. Paramita is perfection. So this is perfection of wisdom or Sutta. That's why it's very powerful. It carries everything. And you realize Hsuan, they all through the commentary, they try to explain by using words and so on. Make it, to me, it's more confusing. Once you understand what one pertains to the conditioned world, here he used the word perceive object of the conditioned world. Understand? Whereas in the unconditioned is the direct seeing. You see things as they are without the word, without the what they call the ideology or views or opinion. It's just seeing things as they are. Understand? No word, nothing. The unconditioned. So this basis to understand is easier. That's why all along I only teach you the essential. No need to play with the word and make it so confusing. No need. Okay? Now we go back to continue a bit more. As I hear the title is good. Delusion has no basis. The parable of Yanadatta. Punya said, the task come one and I are alike, in that we are both fully endowed with the precious awakened, perfect, luminous, true wondrous, pure mind that understands. Nevertheless, for a time without beginning, I was plagued with the deluded act of my mind. And for a long time I was bound to the cycle of birth and death. Although I have since became a sage, means what? One of the sainthood way, My enlightenment is not fully perfected, whereas the world-honored one has put an end to all delusion, so that only what is wondrous, true, and everlasting remain. I venture to ask the Tascam One, why all living beings suffer from delusion? Why do they keep covered their wondrous, luminous understanding so that they continue to be submerged in samsara? The Buddha said to Puja, you have put your coarse doubt to rest, but your more subtle doubt have not yet been ended. I will now question you about this matter by referring to a mundane event. Have you not heard about Yanadatta, the man from Savatthi who saw a face with perfectly clear feature in the mirror one morning and became enraptured with it? Then he became upset because he supposed he had lost his face. It struck him that he must have turned into a headless ghost. For no good reason, he ran madly out of the house. What do you think? What caused this man to run madly about for no good reason? Punya replied, he was clearly insane. That and nothing else was the cause. So the notes, we read the notes. That is, he became an arahant at the fourth stage, means the fourth stage of sainthood, at which one is no longer subject to the rebirth due to avijja. The translation is uncertain. The li mei or li mei, ghost, is described in the indigenous Chinese works as a kind of animal or ling or spirit that usually lives in the mountain. The corresponding Sanskrit is not clear. Given the context here, it is possibly the headless ghost known as Blamya. That might not important. The Buddha said the luminous understanding of wondrous enlightenment is perfect. That fundamental, perfect, luminous understanding is wondrous. How could there be in it any basis for what is clearly a delusion? And if there were a basis for this delusion, how could it be what we call deluded? Thus, your deluded thought have followed one upon another, each one leading to the next. Confusion is added to confusion. Aeons after countless aeons, numberless as mote of dust. Although the Buddha can reveal this process to you, he cannot reverse it for you. Okay, commentary. Most people put their energy into the physical body, which has no life of its own, and which keeps you hoping on its behalf. But in the future, your body will certainly die. Those who practice in accordance with the Dhamma should apply their skill to what does have life. What is our true nature that does not die? Therefore, beings are not aware of the cause of their confusion, because they do not realize that confusion is based only on confusion. Their confusion persists. They need merely to realize that confusion has no ultimate basis, and the basis of their deluded thought will disappear. There is no need for them to wish that the cause of their confusion would disappear. where no cause existed in the first place. Thus, someone who has become fully enlightened is like one who relates the events of a dream from which he had just awakened. His mind is now sharp and clear. What reason could we have then to wish to try to return to his dream, to obtain some object that he had dreamed of? Okay, we go to the commentaries. You encounter confusion and it seems to really exist, but actually it is an illusion. Confusion lacks any real existence. The person who said he didn't have a head thought he didn't have one, but it was really there on his shoulder all along. Confusion is a temporary lack of clarity. It cannot obliterate your enlightened nature. The person whose mind is sharp and clear represents the Buddha, who speaks of the Dhamma to destroy confusion and delusion. But he cannot physically get hold of deluded and confused mental state and show them to you. All you can do is to use analogy to instruct you. Don't expect him to pull out the state of mind for exhibit. In this way, he is like a person who awakes from a dream and can talk about all the things that took place in the dream, but he cannot pull out the things that he dreamed of and show them to you. Even less could delusion have any basis. Fundamentally delusion has no existence. In the same way, there was no reason for Yanadatta's experience that day in the city. Were his madness to suddenly cease, it would not be because he had recovered his head from anywhere outside of himself. How could his head have actually been missing, even while he was still in his madness? Punya. The same is true of the essential nature of delusion. Where could its basis lie? All that is needed is for you not to follow after the distinction you make concerning the perpetuation, the world, beings, and retribution in accord with karma. Once you have eliminated the three conditions that are necessary for the coming into beings of these three perpetuation, their three causes can now become active again. Thus, I read again. Once you have eliminated the three conditions that are necessary for the coming into being of these three perpetuation, their three causes will not become active again. Thus, the madness in your mind, that is like Yanadatta's madness, will cease of its own accord, and just that ceasing is awakening or enlightenment. That supreme, pure, luminous mind that understands has already extended everywhere throughout the Dhamma ride. It cannot be bestowed upon you by anyone else. What need is there to work yourself to the bones in pursuit of awakening. Consider, for example, a person who does not know that a wish-fulfilling pearl is sewn onto his clothes. Destitute and homeless, wandering from place to place as he begged for his food. He is indeed poor, but his wish-fulfilling pearl is still with him. Then it so happened that someone wise point out his pearl to him, and now he can fulfill his every wish. He becomes very rich. He realized that his magical pearl can only have come from within himself. Okay, I think we can end here after I read the notes. When Ananda speaks next, he restates that what he takes to be the Buddha's position here, and he identifies these three conditions as killing, stealing, and sexual desire. The three causes are not defined in the text: anger, desire, and delusion. The three poisons of the mind are probably meant. The parable is told in full in chapter 8 of the Lotus Sutra. Okay, we move on. Okay, I think we stop here. Huh? We just stop here. Remember the four support and stabilize your awareness within. The first support is relax body and mind completely. Then maintain the awareness or sati within. The pure awareness nature is very important. So maintaining awareness is equally important. Whatever arises, don't try to know, don't try to do. Because the one that wants to know and do is always the thought. So once you understand this, then you just let things be, silent everything, relax, then maintain the inner awareness at all times. Then stabilize the inner awareness until very stable. Then from there, if you have done it, stabilize it, you can move on to the fourth support, which is trust. Trust your true nature within to actually develop the meditative movement. So you silence everything, relax, maintain awareness at the heart area for those doing the fourth support. Once you're at the heart area, you just let the awareness nature pick up whatever sensation or phenomena that manifests. So when you are aware there, a lot of things that happen will be detected by your pure awareness nature. Then silence everything and be with it. It can be a heartbeat or any vibration within your heart area. Then just let it move until the awareness slow down, and become very stable. Then after that, you just silence everything and stay peacefully with it. Once you have developed that stability, that true mind, without thought, will meditate on its own. Then you learn to stabilize whatever mind state that you have detected. Then just let the phenomenon move as one. Then let the stillness develop. Okay. then you will detect sooner or later through one of the gateway within your heart area. Then when that movement starts or trigger off, as a cultivator at that time, you will understand what is going on. And that understanding is very useful. So when your Sankara activity slows down until you're completely without thought, then you stay silent. Then somehow you will develop the movement until your true mind, your silent mind without thought, can detect the gateway to your nature. Then you just silence everything and just let that pure awareness nature or mind develop the movement on its own. Okay, now I let you meditate on your own. Okay, you all can slowly, mindfully come out of the meditation. Try to maintain whatever inner peace, inner calmness, and inner awareness that you have developed for as long as you can. Now we open up for second session. Second session is meditation reporting, followed by whatever question that you may have, Q&A session. You can ask me anything about the Dhamma, the meditation, and how to apply this teaching to let you understand life and help you resolve whatever life problem you may have. Also Dhamma in daily life, based on your own meditative experience and understanding.
Brother Teo, Mr. Teo， 大家午好。Brother Teo 要 share 一个最近的一个 experience，一个小小的 experience。最近我们华人的世界里面有一部电影。给阿嬷的情书。
阿嬷的情书。
对，very famous。So 在网上就很多人有 comment， 然后每个都讲哇非常的感动，每个人都流眼泪，都有哭。然后过后我很久没有去看戏了，10多年然后我想哇，现在他的那个口碑这样好，所以我就讲 why not 出去看。然后我想到哇，每一个人的 comments 都讲都流眼泪。我有看他的一些预告片，都很感动。所以我讲哎呀，等一下自己也会流眼泪，等我也拿了一包 tissue， 我 prepare 了一包 tissue， 然后我就去看，就去看这个戏。当他一做的时候，我一直看，看到我一半的时候，我觉得，怎么我不一样
？Very good。
我 notice that 我没有情绪。
对。
其实他拍得非常的好，这部戏。他没有很多的那种 technique， 但是他就这样子很我们的 daily 的生活这样子的拍，他是真的是很感动。只是我觉得我看到一半的时候，我就 observe 我自己，怎么我没有情绪的？
跟以前不一样
然后我就看到我的 heart 这里，很像 nothing 这样子的，空空的。然后我就继续的去看。看到最后的时候，哇，很多人流眼泪我的旁边，我看到每一个都在擦眼泪，哇，后面的有个女的就说背，哇，一直说背，然后我讲哇，但是 even until the end， 我完全我也没有流眼泪，我就这样子只是看那个戏这样子 until the end。可我出来，我想something 不一样为什么我这一次看戏会不一样？ 忽然间我就明白了，就我们每次讲的那些Dhamma，这个电影就很像那个我们的 second aspect of 那个 mind。所以我讲，哇，我这一次原来我在 silent mind 里面，我这样子在看就这部电影，
它的 movement，
对，它的 movement，我没有给它的里面的那个情节
对
draw 进去。我没有 draw 进去，我想如果是以前的话，哇，因为它真的是很好看，那个 emotion 就起来了，然后你就 jump into it， 然后你就变成跟那个里面的那种 actress 一起 move， 哇，然后又来哭啦，然后很像来，很像有 reaction 这样子，我在以前。把这一次你说完全只是这样静静的就整个的看完整部的电影所以我一出来了过后我在 recall 的时候，哇，那个3个 aspect 的这个 understanding 就让我更清楚的看到了，就是明白只要在 silent 里面你就是去 observe 它
就不一样了，
就完全的是不一样，
因为 the understanding transform you. Like I used to share with you all in the early days. I remember after 1989, that time my nature transformed. Then I actually doesn't know that I can go out and test myself. I only make a decision to join the private sector to find out when I work for a private sector, which is normally more hectic and more of this type of workload, all those things, then need memory, all those things. How will my form and mind react and nature? But I was lucky because there was one year my classmate, Alastar, also later joined me in MU. He was a doctor. So he got this opportunity to book a music tech room in KL, where the musics are very loud, high metallic, all those things. It's like a live center, entertainment center. And I haven't been to such a loud place with so much of this music and all those things. So like you mentioned, a lot of people were so excited, and most people were new. But then I went, the moment my nature heard that type of music, it's like the thing that go direct to the heart, and the heart there, like very strange, You want to listen, you can listen. You don't want to listen, you can shut off. Then I realized, this time not like last time. It doesn't affect me someone else mind. It doesn't make me like want to complain. Wow, why this fellow? The music is so loud. How can people hear anything or whatever? Don't have one. Then I was having a lot of understanding and joy. Then I realized all this moment to moment, the vibration, the sense data that come in and transform to the hearing consciousness, and how you perceive it and receive it, totally different. Totally different. And like you explained, you cannot be drawn into it. There is no like extreme of excitement or something. Then later on I realized there are a lot of things that I see doesn't affect me anymore, because you like understand the phenomenal world of consciousness, no reality, nothing. Then as I continue with my life, then later on I remember after many years, then I realized if I go and see a show or whatever, when I go in, even or sometimes you remember Mrs. Ho and some of the Kaimita, they will buy all this ticket and all those things. Then this artists that come and the Buddhist hymn, all those things. And some are for, I think, various type of show. And some even they manage to invite us to see some show in Genting. I remember the arena, star of arena, or arena of the star, I forgot already. Very big theater, of course, full, packed with people, very loud. Then I realized some of the music, they were very unique music. Even there is one, I think, they raised fund for SJBA, if I'm not wrong, at Sunway, the ballroom there, the big hall there, I think. There's a very old music band called Air Supply. Actually, I like that music one, because when I was young, I listened to it. Then, when I was there, I listened, it was different already. Then, later on, I can watch some of the show or whatever, like a normal person again. No? I don't like, it's just like the three phases of seeing. Kan san se san, then kan san pu se san, then finally kan san yu se san. Means you merge back to reality. You become normal again. Then that time you see the difference again. Obvious. Deep inside your nature, it also transforms. It transforms until it's very clear. But later on, the third phase, inside here also change. And despite all the understanding, it makes your nature like you can become normal again. You can become. But that one is much later. I remember it was 20 odd years later, I think, after 1989. Then I came to realize that the understanding is very important. Without the understanding, you cannot differentiate between the mundane mind, the thinking mind, and the consciousness manifestation. That's why initially when you understand the teaching, then you go through the transformation. Then like the Buddha say, consciousness is like a magician or illusion. So you see that very clearly and you become very different. It cannot affect you and all of that. But after you go through the third type of seeing, the third phase, it's like kan san yu se san that time. It's just like I explained to you. The whole of the phenomenal world, the Four Noble Truths, all those things, is like, it's a provisional teaching that you need to develop as understanding to understand life and all those things. Then when you understand life, you know how to live life, that third phase of Dhamma manifests at time. You really admire life. Everything is like so pristine, so beautiful. Then you like have a lot of joy or no, whatever it is. So this phase will come to pass later. It will transform again. Then you will start to appreciate life totally differently. It's not to say that you started revert back to like wanting to experience the worldly life. No, nothing to do with that one. It's the wonderful existence that manifests for you to understand, no. Then you can like normal again, no. Then you can also talk normally, mingle around normally. Then, of course, you will have that character in you. Yeah? My nature is, I humble. I have a lot of humility. And a lot of people who don't know me, they don't know, they may not detect the sign unless it's a cultivator and they can detect my nature's energy. So normal people who doesn't know me, they cannot actually come near me or develop the affinity. But those who have affinity and condition, they will sense something different. Then they look at me, they interact with me, they talk to me, they will sense something. Then those that have affinity are very strange, From the way we interact, they know this person very different. So, sadhu to you, this understanding will continue to evolve. I use the word evolve, unfold. And this phase will last quite a while, maybe for many years. Then later on, as you go through again, you will start to understand more, which is very good. Sadhu. So.
过我在 recall， 我想哇，这个真的是要很多的 understanding，
for you to move through，
对
，because 你一针一针不一样的你了解了 stabilize 了又不一样了，then 你里面清楚到很 clear 了with the stability 了又不一样了，then later on when the money collapse you go through another phase. That's why I say it's unending. The realization of this third phase of Dhamma Pativeda means the phase where you really live life as a Arya, or I should say as a noble one, or a wise person who has the Dhamma. This phase is wonderful existence. And the wonderful existence keep on unfolding more and more wondrous one. That's why you read the sutra, they use the word wondrous. It comes from wonderful. Of course, they also use luminous and all those things. Well, these are words to try to describe what that nature is. But you have to go through it, transform, and be in that state. Of course, you need the form and mind to actually come to this existential world, to go through the transformative cultivation and process and connect. Then all this will come back to you. Then when it comes back to you, even this life, as you continue to cultivate, you continue to progress, then you continue to experience a lot more things. That's why in the early day, I used to hint to you, whatever my nature understand, it's like the handful of leaves that the Buddha used as an. Now you will understand the deeper meaning. He asked the monk at that time, Samsipa forest, which is small, the leaf that is in his handful of. That he held in the hand, or the leaf that you can perceive or see in the forest, on the ground and on the tree and the forest. Then they say, of course, the one in the tree is a lot more, or in the forest is a lot more. Then the Buddha said, likewise, what he has realized and understood is like the forest leaf. But what he has taught them is the essential provisional teaching, the Four Noble Truths, with its three turning. But these are essential for the holy life, the initial understanding of the holy life. The word initial is not like a wrong description. No. Really, when you have penetrated the Four Noble Truths, the teaching, you only start to understand life in its real meaning, starting to understand it. And to understand the whole of it, you need to go through the Bodhisattva way, the supreme vehicle way. That's why he say, finally is only one teaching. Because the rest of the teaching are just skillful means, provisionality, to give you an idea of how all this illusory world that can condition karmic negativity leading to suffering, that one it's not easy to understand and penetrate. But even after you penetrate and understand, it only enables you to go through a phase that has less or no suffering. But you haven't really understood life. You haven't really gone through the extensive transformation and cultivation to let you develop the very, very much deeper understanding of life. It's just like after you have understood the provisional teaching, there is a conditioned words Dhamma, then you can free. Then when you understand the conditioned words Dhamma, you haven't understood the unconditioned. Then you move on to Mahayana, where the Heart Sutta, Sing Surangama Sutra, all this they start to teach you to go beyond the sainthood way, to understand wonderful existence is deep meaning. Then they explain to you very clearly. That's why they use different words. The treasury of the Taskam one and all those things. Then they also have what they use as, of course they did mention the unconditioned, but they never mentioned the unconditioned Dhamma. Then all these unconditioned Dhamma which appear in the sutta like very confusing one. You study under the provisional teaching, the Theravada tradition, Four Noble Truths, old age, sickness and death, law of karma. Then like I explained, the Buddha said, we are all born of karma, heir to our karma, conditions supported by, and we are what we are because of our karma. And on the other hand, he teach anatta, not self, empty nature of existence. Then you think it's contradicted. No. Because when he mentioned we or you are born of a karma, he referred to the 5 degrees of form in mind. You understand? But that one is not a being. There is a condition arising phenomena manifested through causes and conditions. It's not a permanent entity. That's why his teaching is very penetrative, very profound. So all this understanding is just like in the sutta just now. He tried to explain is and not is, and all those like very difficult to understood type of explanation with the play of word and all those things. And he said this is to slowly let the sainthood way and the Pacceka Buddha vehicle disciple slowly understand the teaching and move on from the preliminary teaching or provisional teaching of the skillful means, the basic teaching, to the supreme vehicle training. That's why all this they come about. So luckily you bring up the condition. Then there is condition for me to explain to you the process. That's why I say this will continue for you as you evolve and become more and more transformed and different. But then ultimately, many, many years later, you will reach the third phase, when all this stabilize, when the conditioned Dhamma and the unconditioned Dhamma stabilize, and this whole thing that I explained become very clear to you, then you become normal again. Then you realize you can fit into the world again. Then the wondrous existence or wonderful existence stage will start to slowly appear. Then phase by phase is like very amazing. Like I used to explain to you, sometimes I can just stay anywhere when I travel or when I'm alone at home or whatever. It's just amazing. I can just silent inside. Then develop the understanding, the joy. Then when I open my eye, I can see all these things. Then I can appreciate every moment, every instant, the pristine beauty and wonder. They are there everywhere in the midst of life, in nature. And this is what wonderful existence is. Then there is no reality. Then like this one, anytime you can just cease and go, no problem. And there is no worry, anxiety, fear, I haven't done this, no such thing. And you understand it very clearly. Then it go beyond the three hallmarks of healing. No thought which we have realized, initially a glimpse, then later on, very stable, when you go the Bodhisattva way, until it can illuminate the nature and beyond. Then after that, as you develop all this ability, transformation, you will reach the second phase of Huineng's 6 patriarchs hallmark. You realize no mark, Wu Xiang. When you realize no mark, that one is very penetrative. No mark of self cultivating, no mark of others, no mark of existence, Dhamma, everything. Then the Heart Sutta, you suddenly penetrate like very, very deep one. Then really, he know nothing, where there is no mark. And all this that has mark are manifested by the mundane mind. Understand? The perceived object, that type of manifestation. This create mark through delusion. Then the last one is the best, where you experience the treasury of the Taskamana. Or here they use the word matrix. Matrix. They like the word matrix. I don't know why. Maybe the matrix show come from that word matrix. In the olden day, they use the word the treasury of the Taskamana. This one is the matrix of the Taskamana. So the third hallmark of Huineng is what? Wu Chu. That is the final, most advanced cultivation. You can only be in that state of Wu Chu, where you don't dwell, that mundane mind, that perceived reality mind, cannot dwell already one. It doesn't dwell already. Means it's like, that place is like, mundane mind collapse. Understand? When the mundane mind collapse, actually the supra-mundane mind is non-grasping. You can understand? That's why you can live life, and yet, initially I remember when the mundane mind collapsed, it's like you don't have a mind, completely without a mind, because the whole thing become like, the mundane mind, the gross one, like whole thing collapse. Like inside there no mind, that supra-mundane mind is very fine, very fine. Then my nature inside suddenly realize, if no mind, how can I function? Understand? How can I perceive? But it's like nothing inside, everything is very light, that face. Then the clarity allow you to see everything so clearly, not only seeing things as they are. The characteristics of nature is everywhere in the midst of life and nature. The wondrous existence, everything is there. How come last time cannot see? And nothing has changed, only that thing collapsed over. That's why the third phase of Dhamma, or Huineng, the third hallmark, that phase is the third phase of Dhamma. To develop that one, you have to go through the third hallmark of Huineng, the mind that has no dwelling means that true mind just shine from your nature. Because once the mundane mind collapses or no more, there is like no more cloud, nothing to obscure. Everything is so clear. Then nothing can deceive your nature anymore that time. And after you transform, when you reach those states, you know your nature is very different. Then you can understand all this movement, all this cultivation and coming and cessation, all those things. That's why that phase is actually a very beautiful phase. That's why I got conditioned today. I share it. And it's recorded. So when free, listen to it. In the future, it's going to help many people. Yeah, you continue. Sadhu.
Sadhu Brother， 刚才你的 sharing 是 step by step 的让我们去 understand 那个 cultivation， 它是一个层次的慢慢的一直进去，这个层次是要去 cultivate， cultivate with understanding，
Then you have to go through the transformation. That's why now I start to have the condition to explain to you why I used to tell you all the provisional teaching, the sainthood way, actually nothing compared to the supreme vehicle way. But at that time I cannot, because it's so difficult. Because a lot of people are like, you can become a saint and Arya already 了不起 like very fantastic already, But when you have the understanding of the whole cultivation, you look back, then how to explain to people that this is nothing? This is just get out of suffering, The first delusion or scarcity, and the extensive, wonderful existence. A lot of the teaching, all actually not taught one, not inside the provision here. So 怎样去教? That's why actually it is really wonderful that this thing has happened within 21 plus years. Let us rejoice. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Otherwise 你们不会懂的，因为 a lot of the cultivator, to them, the sainthood way already fantastic already. They say Arahant enough already finished. But a lot of things that is in the understanding and the teaching is not taught. Very few people can teach and let you have the understanding. Then not only that, some they believe Mahayana more superior, Maha, my great vehicle, and they get all this fantastic teaching. But how many of those cultivating Mahayana really have the full understanding of the way? That's why it's not easy. And this type of teaching is not easy to combine. That's why Maitreya came to my nature and request to share this. Because there is condition. And this one, very few people can understand. That's why when I received the message in 2008, I knew what that thing was. Well, that was 9 years after, not 9 years, 19 years after 1989. You realize that? 89, 99, then 2008, 19年后. Well, by then, I connect back and I have penetrated and received what they call all my spiritual nature's understanding already came back. That's why he used the word 请你把正法传下去. That two words, 正法, deep inside I knew what that thing is or not. First is to explain the provisional teaching clearly so that people can easily cultivate, develop the progress. Then to actually add in the Bodhisattva way's unique cultivation of my nature, that my nature has evolved and developed, to speed up the understanding of those going their way. And these are the two that I need to share. He called it the Zhen Fa. That's why at that time my nature already knew I was full of joy. Then I told Sakyamuni, Maitreya's nature. I say, you are the Buddha, you don't have to be so courteous. Where he used the word 请你, please. It's like the word please. I say, you just instruct, I do already. And the golden word that he manifested, he was an image down there. You remember in the blue book I explained the cultivating one. Then in that dream, very vivid, it was a Mayanawi place, I remember. Then there is a lot of like monks, nuns, and 8 preceptors and all that. Then one group of very young, I should say, 5, 6 years old, like child, lady, they came to me, just full of joy. They pull my hand and say, 师父要见你. I also don't know who was. Hey, he brought me to I don't know how you describe it. Well, it was a very small statue, and the statue is like sitting on something on the floor. But that place is inside a huge temple. Then I said, hey, bring me to see the statue for what? You know what happened after that? Suddenly, the statue animated into a very colorful, beautiful being with the laughter behind. That Maitreya type of laughter. Then the word come out. As he reached up there, he manifests into Maitreya. Then the word, every word he announced, golden one, come down. It's like somebody writing it. 请你把正法传下去, very loud one. And 5 times repeated. And the many word, all I can read. Then, very strange. Straight away, that nature inside, full of course there is joy, and also there is gratitude. And first, I say, you are the Buddha, you don't have to have such courtesy. You can just instruct, and I willingly do. That's why after that, everything happened. The first batch got problem, they left, not meant to be. Then the second batch came. Hsuan started to invite me to SJBA. I remember. Then after the first talk, Mi Fong and Eng Bi, actually it Eng Bi, who started at first approached me and say, oh, you're so beautiful. 2-hour talk, so much Dhamma and so much clarity. Then he suddenly asked, do you teach meditation? I said, yeah, I teach meditation. Then Mi Fong was, I think, quite concerned because at that time he know Eng Bi doing the Burmese traditional rising, falling. His cat have problem. But my nature just let things be. Then Mi Fong suggests at first I think they didn't suggest. It was like mentioned where to have it. Then Eng Bi suggested Mi Fong's house. Then Mi Fong said, only the 2 of us now. I said, don't worry. If serious, 1 also I teach. I said, then Mi Fong got no choice, I remember. He roped Hsuan in. Then Hsuan very good. WhatsApp out. The first Thursday class, I remember 6 of them came. 6, not 5 aesthetic, 6. Then after that, everything was history. So all these are meant to be. That's why this type of understanding and the teaching, because of that request, it become a living reality, and causes condition just manifest after that. People came and helped do the transcript. Then later on the website, the Bodhisattva way. That's why you see one by one all these things fall into place. Then recently, I think Chin Hao sent me they transcribed my yellow card into Mandarin. I need Envy to help me to read through. You receive or not? You didn't receive, I will send to you all to give me some. But my Mandarin no good. I asked my wife to read, and not clear. The Mandarin is not, but I think quite okay. Except that you direct translate, I scan. The meaning not there, not deep enough, and the flow may not be. Because the yellow color, a lot of things inside there, fully summarized. But when it becomes Mandarin, it's like, I don't know what it is. It's like, it doesn't sound to me like the understanding that I want to impart in. But I also check, the direct translation is correct. You understand what I mean? The direct translation is correct. But the flow and intent of what my nature wanted to impart is not there, because it is the language. I sent to the three of you. You help me to go through. Then give me some feedback. Actually 4 or 5 of them tried. Alicia, Hui Rong, Song was involved in that. They sent to the 2 of you. Then 还有谁？金浩，还有谁？4个人罢了。So at least, because this want to come out. Well, a lot of people recently, like in the website, he asked me about my book. Available in Mandarin. I said at the moment, don't have. Because how to translate that type of book? So don't worry, just let things be. So anyway, remind me to send to you. Who else good in Mandarin that we can send to? Also good in Dhamma. Cindy Mandarin educator, not. 还有谁啊 ？Alicia 有了。Actually 你们做得不错。Yeah, most of it I think come from Alicia. She read the Mahayana book a lot on. So like the 4 basic vows, I think he followed the Mahayana on. 对，四弘誓愿。So all this thing, I think the words are correct. But I want you all to go through and read through and try to explain to me whether the flow, how to improve on it. Because what I formatted is very different. It's not the traditional Bodhisattva vow type of thing. It's like how to speed up the cultivation. You see, initially I say, to go this way, this nature of mind, vow, to have all this important understanding whenever this nature choose to come or have to come. Then after that, it has the miscellaneous vow to whatever that break the coming obstruction. Then after that is the actual taking of the vow. Then we have the end is miscellaneous vow. Anyway, it is intended in that flow, understand? Once you have the basic understanding, life after life, when you come, then only the Bodhi Maya can be activated or no. Then you have to break the karmic obstruction before all this cultivation can go smoothly or no. Otherwise, sure got obstruction, I tell you, over the aeons and aeons. Cannot run, I tell you. This nature, no. Then after that, the miscellaneous vow and all those things is to have affinity with the great beings. Oh, that one very important one. No? You don't have their affinity to provide you with the blessing, protection and guidance. This way very difficult. And the protection for the form and mind is very important now, where I realize this form and mind are very easily, very fragile one, very easily get into trouble. And without all these great beings' nature, there is no way. Then of course, the other miscellaneous vow that you can add in is unique to yourself. So I put in some very basic one only, that whatever vow you make will be fulfilled soon as possible. Then to cultivate all the important wisdom, virtue and whatever perfection, so that you can use it in time of tribulation, when the test come, when all the what they call very difficult situation arise as you cultivate. Because this supreme vehicle where you will encounter a lot of things. Not only great beings that help you, but depending on what your cultivation before is. A lot of them got a lot of rubbish in the past, psychic, all those things. Wow, I tell you, when you come, you have to go through all this karmic tests and all those things. The Mo Zhang, very severe, I tell you. And it's not easy. Even Xuan Hua, this life, when he went over to the state, you remember, in the sea, he was attacked. And because he likes psychic. And a lot of those, they call demons. Because it's coming. He helped a lot of people get out of it. That's why you cannot interfere. You only teach them the Dhamma, let them solve themselves. You don't go and play the role of like helping them to. That's why I never do that. By nature, I share with you the Dhamma. You do it yourself. You resort. So that you don't interfere. Where people's karmic, karmic, there is a law behind one. I teach you how to break it. You invoke power of morality. But I don't help you to interfere with your karma and help you to resolve it. I cannot. Even like that day in we come. I can invoke the power of her merit because she make a lot of offering and all those things. Manyan also say, and many Kayamita. Even earlier, Mi Fong, every time he landed in a special center, Hsuan would text me. Then even that Chiwe's wife, many operations already, all cleared. Then even Achalo also know how to request the father's operation, all those things last time. So all this, it evolves the understanding behind. If you understand, then you can do it yourself. That's why all those Kayamita that I have is I teach you how to do. If you have faith, you do, they will help you. It will manifest. 6:03 already, we better end. You wrap up song, sadhu. 没有了 Okay, let us rejoice with all the good conditions for the good sharing. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so we do the sharing of marriage. I got dinner tonight with my son and their family. So I believe. Akasata cha pumata devanaga mahindika punyang tang anumoditwa chirang rakantu loka sasana Ittavata camehi sampadan punya sampadan sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya idang me nyatinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo idang me nyatinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo idang me nyatinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo devo asatukalina sasa sampati hetu cha fito bhavatu loko cha raja bhavatu dhammiko imina punyang kamena Mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yawa nivana patiya sadhu sadhu sadhu. Okay, you can now pay respect mindfully to Lord Buddha, Guanyin Bodhisattva, and the Bodhisattva. And sadhu.